What if everything you believe about your own mind is wrong? What if human consciousness is not inside the brain at all? Welcome to Information World. For centuries, humans have believed that consciousness is created by the brain. We point to neurons, electrical signals, and chemical reactions and confidently say, this is where awareness comes from. But when scientists look closer, something strange happens. The deeper they study the brain, the less they understand how subjective experience truly emerges. Thoughts, emotions, memories, and the feeling of I do not behave like simple biological processes. They feel different. They feel fundamental. Consider this simple question. You can touch your brain. You can scan it. You can measure its activity. But can you ever locate the feeling of being you? No brain scan has ever captured the color red as you experience it. No equation has ever measured the pain of loss or the warmth of love. This gap between physical matter and inner experience is known as the hard problem of consciousness, and it is one of the greatest mysteries in science. Some researchers now ask a radical question. What if consciousness does not come from the brain? What if the brain is not the source, but a receiver? Just as a radio does not create music but tunes into it, maybe the brain tunes into consciousness rather than producing it. This idea may sound shocking, but it is not new. Ancient philosophies from India, Greece, and Persia all suggested that consciousness is fundamental to reality itself. In these traditions, awareness is not something that appears late in evolution. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Matter, energy, space, and even time arise within consciousness, not the other way around. Modern physics has begun to echo this ancient intuition. At the quantum level, reality behaves in ways that defy common sense. Particles exist in multiple states until observed. Observation itself seems to affect outcomes. Some interpretations suggest that consciousness plays a role in collapsing possibilities into reality. While this does not prove that consciousness is fundamental, it strongly challenges the idea that the universe is purely mechanical and mindless. Neuroscience adds another layer of mystery. People with severe brain damage sometimes report clear awareness despite reduced neural activity. Near-death experiences show vivid consciousness when brain function is minimal or absent. Psychedelic studies reveal that when brain activity decreases in certain regions, subjective experience can actually become richer, not weaker. If consciousness were produced by the brain, reducing brain activity should reduce awareness. But that is not always what we observe. This leads to a powerful possibility. The brain may act as a filter. Instead of generating consciousness, it limits it. In everyday life, your brain narrows infinite awareness into a focused human experience so you can survive, function, and interact with the physical world. When that filter is altered, expanded states of consciousness emerge. If this is true, consciousness may exist everywhere, like a vast ocean. Individual minds would then be waves on its surface. Each wave appears separate, yet all are made of the same water. Birth would not be the creation of consciousness, but the formation of a new pattern within it. Death would not be the end of awareness, but the dissolving of that pattern back into the whole. This idea transforms how we see ourselves. You are not a machine made of meat that accidentally became aware. You are awareness itself, temporarily experiencing a human form. The brain is not who you are. It is the interface through which you experience reality. This perspective also changes how we understand identity. If consciousness is not located in the brain, then the self is not confined to the skull. The sense of separation between you and the world becomes less absolute. Empathy, compassion, and connection stop being moral ideas and start becoming logical consequences of shared awareness. Artificial intelligence raises similar questions. Machines can process information, recognize patterns, and simulate conversation. But are they conscious? If consciousness does not arise from complexity alone, then no amount of computation guarantees awareness. Consciousness may require participation in a deeper field that machines do not access. This would explain why intelligence and consciousness are not the same thing. Some scientists propose panpsychism, the idea that consciousness exists at all levels of reality. Even fundamental particles may possess primitive forms of experience. While this sounds strange, it solves a major problem. If consciousness exists nowhere at the basic level, how does it suddenly appear later? Panpsychism suggests it was always there, gradually organizing into more complex forms. Others suggest a cosmic consciousness, where the universe itself is aware. In this view, Individual minds are localized expressions of a universal mind. Just as your thoughts arise within you, galaxies and life may arise within a greater awareness. The universe would not be a dead object. It would be a living process. Critics argue that these ideas are unscientific. But science itself begins with observation, and consciousness is the one thing we know directly. Everything else is inferred. To dismiss consciousness as secondary is to ignore the foundation of all knowledge. Science does not collapse when we take consciousness seriously. It expands. If consciousness is not in the brain, many mysteries suddenly make sense. The feeling of free will becomes less illusory. The deep intuition that life has meaning stops being naive. Even spiritual experiences, long dismissed as hallucinations, gain new interpretive frameworks. This does not mean abandoning science. It means updating it. Just as physics evolved beyond Newton, our understanding of mind may need a revolution. A model where matter and consciousness are equally fundamental may be closer to the truth than either extreme alone. Ask yourself this. When you close your eyes, where is your awareness located? Can you point to it? Or is it simply present, without boundaries? The more closely you look, the harder it is to confine consciousness to a physical object. Perhaps the brain is not the birthplace of consciousness, but its translator. Perhaps reality is not something you observe, but something you participate in. Perhaps the universe is not unconscious matter moving blindly through space, but awareness exploring itself through form. If this is true, then you are not a small being in a vast universe. You are the universe, briefly focused, looking back at itself. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep exploration, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more mind-expanding content from Information World.